Well, let's talk towing. A lot of people buy the Prado and they've got plans of towing a caravan or a boat, things like that. So let's talk about the numbers when it comes to towing, knowing what the weights of the vehicle are, what you can tow, and how towing can affect your gross vehicle mass and determine whether or not it's actually legal. Forgive me if I go through the notes here, but there's a lot of numbers to get through. Number one, Prado has a brake towing capacity of 3,000 kilos, 3 tonne. It has a gross combination mass, i.e. whatever you're towing, be it a caravan or a boat, and the Prado itself can't weigh more than 5,990 kilos, 5.99 tonne. The gross vehicle mass of the Prado, as you see it here, is 2,990 kilos, 2.99 tonne. 2.99 tonne plus 3 tonne equals 5.99 tonne. Pretty simple, eh? But now it gets a little bit more complicated. The curb weight of this vehicle you see here with the flat tailgate is 2,290 kilos. Whereas if you had spare wheel mounted on the tailgate and the 63 litre sub-tank underneath, the curb weight goes up to 2,350 kilos. You subtract the curb weight away from the GVM and that then gives you your payload. In this case here with the flat tailgate, the payload is 700 kilos. In the case with the spare on the back, the payload is 640 kilos. And that includes all the passengers, your luggage and your fuel and everything else in this vehicle on top of the curb weight, 640 kilos before you hit the GVM. But here's where towing comes back into the equation. Approximately 10% of whatever you're towing in weight is counted as ball weight on the tow bar at the back of the vehicle, which actually adds to the gross vehicle mass as part of that equation. So if you're towing a 3 tonne caravan behind this or a 3 tonne boat, that means, and I'll just double check my numbers here, your payload will change quite dramatically. 300 kilo ball weight on the back on this particular vehicle, that's 700 kilos of payload, drops your total payload allowable to 400 kilos. If you've got the wheel on the back and the 63 litre sub-tank, the payload inside the vehicle you can have with towing that caravan or boat at 3 tonnes is only 340 kilos. 340 kilos. That's all your passengers, all your luggage and the fuel. 150 kilos of diesel. Well, you're looking at well over 100 kilos there, probably about 130 odd kilos in weight there. 340 minus 130, that's 240, 210 kilos. Family of 5, really starting to look dodgy if you're going to keep this thing under the gross vehicle mass. So there's that to consider. Maybe this version with the flat tailgate and only the 1 tank may be an option when you're playing around with those numbers and weights when it comes to towing.